fire with friends and family.
Hey Tamriel, Red Engine here. This week's rant is one that's been fucking bothering me for since I first discovered people were doing it. Back when it was a bannable offense for a day or whatever. But it's faction hopping. It, you know, faction hopping is such a bane on BWB PV. I can understand why they did it, made it
Yes, yes.
legal,
I'm sure Vesta will
so
have
to
everything
speak,
ready soon.
because numbers were low, and they wanted to spread out the numbers somewhat. But since that's been implemented, the populations have risen drastically, especially on the AD
Here,
and
looks like you
DC
hurt your
side.
arm, brother.
Not so much EP, but since this changing factions at a whim has happened, faction hopping, we'll say, uh, things have gone from decent PvP, good, decent battles, to mostly a lot of outnumbering, a lot of politics, a lot of spies. We got guys that are in these cross faction guilds, but it's fine, it's good for one Tamriel, blah 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 blah. But they existed even before that, these cross faction PvP guilds. And they would have some of their members join up with
You looking
EP
well today?
or even other factions. I don't know because I don't play those other factions. But they join up with EP groups. They find the group that just happens to be the Zerg. They're not really skilled. They just have a lot of numbers, aka Zerg. But they'd find these groups. They'd join them, and then within fucking 5 minutes, the little bastards would be like, "Oh, mommy called me" or whatever, and they'd leave the group without leaving the group. They'd just log off, and because there's some kind of party bug, when you go over, log into another character right away, you could still see the group discussion going on in group chat. So they're being able to get the orders
Having a good time over here?
of
Good,
where
good.
these Zergs were going, these Zerglets and whatnot. The potatoes. Most of them don't want to do nothing unless there's a bunch of them. But
I agree.
that's the one thing is
Know
the
how to start your
spies.
fire with
They
friends
were
and
joining
family.
groups, leaving, and then going back to the other faction and soloing, so they could still keep that group dynamic going there. The group chat open. Secondly, if they don't get groups, they give their guildies in the other faction whatever zone chat orders are being put out. You know, and sure, some people learn to start using TS more, or that other one there, that crappy one with all the lag, or they whisper and cut down the zone chat stuff. I'm talking. You be quiet over there. My other gripe with faction hoppers is that
Yes,
a lot of
yes.
them come
I'm sure
here
Vesta will have everything ready soon.
into zone, and it's usually guys that have the medium level players. They know a tactic or two. Uh, they're, I guess, personable and whatnot, and they get into zone and they start sowing dissension among the ranks. They'll do stuff like, "Oh, you don't want to attack DC," blah blah blah, for whatever various reason they happen to make up, and it's usually, "Oh, AD will get mad," or "You don't want to attack AD because DC will get mad." Well, of course they're gonna get mad. Everybody knows this, but for some reason they want to keep trying to do this, trying to keep us focused on one faction instead of
Where's your
us
arm?
attacking their main faction. And when that doesn't work, the other way they sow dissension is to sit there and fucking call people down. These cocksmokers sit there and, oh, yeah, you guys suck. It's all your fault. You did this and did that and blah blah blah, and they'll start zone fights. And EP, I notice with a lot of EP players that there are a lot of people that have pride and whatnot, and that's another one of their fallings. That's another rant we're gonna go into eventually. But you know, so they fall into the trap. It's an easy trap to get into. I've done it myself, and get into arguments, useless arguments. My block list is big, and it's mostly faction hoppers on my block list. This third thing I find with faction hopping is that there's a lot of the politics involved. There's these group of faction hoppers.
Yes.
I love them.
I'm sure Vesta will have
They'll
everything
go from
ready
faction
soon.
to faction to faction. They skip out AP a lot, but they'll go faction, 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 and only their buddy, whoever is kissing their ass this week, will get the amp, and that's how it works with them. Or they'll sit there and AP farm. They'll make EP's numbers look inflated. When people are like, oh yeah, there's 2 bars, oh there's 3 bars of EP, when really there's a lot of these Love Den and other faction hoppers that are in there spying and not contributing, or AP farming and only contributing to their AP gain, but meanwhile taking no resources. Thankfully, with the last Homestead patch, taking a resource is actually worthwhile to a lot of people. So there should be less farming that doesn't support the faction. So people are going to want to start taking these resources because of the 1500 AP.
Well today?
So those are the three things I think. They sow dissension, they spy, and they only come in there for self-serving means, ruining the fucking ruining the balance. I think because AP or AD is always overbalanced. They always have more guys. I think a lot of them AD goes over to the DC side and then back and forth AD DC AD EC AD DC. And it's just it's frustrating having to deal with these spies, these dissension sowers, and AP farmers. And one of the things that really gets me the most is, check this out.
Having a good time over here? Good. Good.
On this list, there's number 1, faction hopper, mostly EP though. Number 2, I don't know who this guy is. He wasn't on the list the other day, so I don't know why he's even back on it. Don't know who this guy is. Don't know who this guy is. Occasionally, when he gets mad at EP, this guy here faction hops, but mostly EP. There's an OPAX member, which we've been putting up recently. There's me standing rock, Red Engine, but most of these lists are all faction hoppers, and I gotta put in a shitload of time. This is not my main. This is the guy I just put in there earlier today, but
You're looking well today.
I gotta put these people on as emperor, and if I had the time that they did to farm AP, be in here 20 hours a day, be in here. If I had the time to be in here 20 hours a day, none of these bastards would be getting emperor. I gotta work. I got responsibilities, children, etc., life, and I usually score in the top 10. I think. Oh, my other guy. I don't know what level my other guy is at, but so faction hopping needs to be gone. And that's all for now. See you next week with a new rant. Don't forget to subscribe and get your notifications.